My name, well, you already know my name. Adolf Hitler. To some, I was a visionary. To others, a monster. History prefers the second. I was born in 1889, in Braunau am Inn, a quiet Austrian town that never imagined it would one day curse my name. My father wanted me to be a civil servant. I wanted to be an artist. He wanted rules, I wanted colors. You can guess who won. When he died, I thought I was free. But what I gained was confusion and rejection. Vienna became my world, full of art and arrogance. Twice I applied to the Academy of Fine Arts. Twice I was rejected. They said I could draw buildings, but not people. Irony, isn't it? Later, I'd build cities filled with people, and destroy them. I lived in hostels, sold sketches, and learned poverty. Poverty doesn't teach kindness, it teaches blame. And I learned fast. Then came 1914, the Great War. Finally, a purpose. I joined the Bavarian regiment, fought in the trenches, and for the first time, felt I belonged. I wasn't brave, only lucky. Shells missed me, gas didn't kill me, and when it was over, Germany had lost. I cried, not for the dead, but because I believed we'd been betrayed. That word, betrayal, became my gospel. I blamed everyone but myself. It was easier that way. After the war, Germany collapsed, revolution, hunger, chaos. People didn't want truth. They wanted someone to shout louder than their fear. And I, as it turned out, had a loud voice. I joined a small group, the German Workers' Party. 12 men in a beer hall, shouting slogans. I turned it into the National Socialist Party. Catchy name, isn't it? My speeches were fire. I talked about pride, enemies, and destiny. Crowds grew. A crowd without an enemy is just a meeting. So I gave them enemies. In 1923, we tried a coup, the beer hall putsch. It failed. 16 men died, and I ended up in prison. My first attempt at greatness lasted one afternoon. But prison gave me time, and an audience. I dictated Mein Kampf. A mix of anger, ambition, and fantasy. When I was released, I wasn't a failure anymore. I was a martyr with a book. The depression came. People were desperate. I promised order, bread, and revenge. They believed. Faith doesn't need facts, only conviction. In 1933, I became Chancellor. Months later, absolute ruler. The parliament burned, conveniently. Opponents vanished. Laws bent to my will. I didn't destroy democracy. It handed me the keys. We rebuilt roads, factories, armies. Crowds swelled. Flags, songs, parades. I turned politics into theater and Germany into my stage. The world watched in awe. Efficiency, such a beautiful disguise for evil. Still, I told myself it was for Germany. But deep down, it was for me. Every cheer painted over my failures. The failed artist was finally adored. And that's the most dangerous addiction of all. By 1936, I ruled everything. The Berlin Olympics showed a perfect Germany. Disciplined, bright, united. Behind the banners, we built weapons and hatred. We blamed the Jews for everything. Poverty, defeat, corruption. We passed laws, built camps, and called it purification. Evil doesn't announce itself. It arrives politely, asking for order. In 1938, I marched into Austria. They greeted me with flowers. My homeland finally accepted me. It felt like destiny or revenge. Either way, I didn't stop there. Czechoslovakia, Poland, France. Each conquest faster than the last. War was my art now, and Europe my canvas. But I stopped seeing the blood in the paint. By 1939, I had it all. Power, applause, blind devotion. They called it the Third Reich. I called it destiny. On September 1st, I invaded Poland. I said it was self-defense. No one believed me, but it didn't matter. Wars don't begin with explosions, they begin with excuses. France fell in weeks. Britain stood alone. I ordered the bombing of London. When reports came back, I declared victory. That's the thing about dictators, we never lose. We just change the definition. Then came Russia. Ah, Russia. The graveyard of arrogance. We invaded in summer. By winter, we froze. 500,000 men gone to snow and silence. I refused to retreat. I told them to hold the line. As if the cold could obey. They call me insane. Maybe. But insanity is just obsession without success. Then came Stalingrad. A city I didn't need, but couldn't let go. We fought for rubble. When my generals begged to retreat, I ordered them to fight to the last bullet. They obeyed. And 300,000 never came home. I blamed them. A dictator never admits mistakes. We invent traitors instead. By 1944, my empire was cracking. Officers plotted to kill me. They failed. I called it fate. Perhaps it was bad aim. I went on camera, alive and defiant. The people cheered. They always cheered. Even when the war was already lost. By 1945, Berlin was burning. I was underground. In the bunker, my concrete tomb. I still gave orders. Still dreamed of miracles, reinforcements, secret weapons, salvation. The generals nodded politely. Most of the armies I commanded no longer existed. Outside, artillery thundered. Inside, we whispered lies. Eva was with me, loyal, calm, absurdly devoted. We married 2 days before the end. A wedding at the edge of hell. April 30th, 1945. I loaded my pistol and ended my story. No final words. No grand farewell. Just silence. They call it suicide. I call it punctuation. The Reich died with me. The 1,000-year dream lasted 12. The cities I rebuilt lay in ruins again. The soldiers who once saluted me were gone. And the world rejoiced. They say power corrupts. I disagree. Power reveals. It shows what was already there: fear, pride, hunger. And I was starving for all three. When the war ended, Germany was dust. Children wandered the rubble, searching for food, for answers. They found my name instead, in shame, in textbooks, in whispers. They said, never again. But history doesn't keep promises, only patterns. Uniforms change, flags change. But faces remain. Men who promise unity and purity will always find an audience. They study me now. In books, films, classrooms. Was he mad? A genius? A monster? Yes. And that's the horror. Monsters are still human. I wasn't born evil. I became it. Step by step, choice by choice. I wanted purpose, and found it in destruction. Because building is hard. Destroying is easy. And crowds always cheer louder when something burns. If I had stayed a painter, you might know my name from a small museum. Not from history's darkest chapter. A rejection letter changed millions of lives. Fate is fragile like that. I thought I was creating a new world. I was only proving how easy it is to end one. They burned my empire. My books, my symbols. But not my memory. That's the curse of infamy. You never die completely. You live on in the fear you created. People still argue about me. How, why, who could have stopped it? They miss the point. No one stops a storm they helped create. I didn't rise alone. I was built. By anger, by silence, by hope turned into hate. That's my legacy. Not greatness. Not victory. Just proof that lies can march farther than armies. So if you hear someone speak with too much certainty, if he promises pride, purity, unity, listen carefully. He's not speaking to your mind. He's speaking to your wounds. I am Adolf Hitler, the man who destroyed his own dream, the painter who mistook hate for art, the leader who mistook worship for love, and the human who mistook madness for destiny. Remember me not for what I built, but for what I broke, because what I broke was everything.